Welcome. So today, myself, Kennedy Howard, and my partner, Jasmine Oviedo, will be talking about Barry Zimmerman's self-regulation theory. Like mentioned, the theorist we're doing is Barry Zimmerman. He received his bachelor's degree at the University of Arizona in 1965, his Master's of Arts at New Mexico State University in 1966. He received his Doctor of Philosophy degree at University of Arizona in 1969, where he became an educational psychology professor and distinguished professor at the Graduate School of City University of New York. What is self-regulation, you may ask? Self-regulation is Barry Zimmerman's theory that consists of three different phases: the forethought phase, the performance phase, and the self-reflection phase. He uses the theory to help students in a classroom setting so that students can learn self-regulatory skills. More about Zimmerman's self-regulation theory. So as you can see on the left, it kind of gives you a vivid picture of what Zimmerman's theory kind of looks like. So first we have the forethought phase, then it goes into the performance phase, and lastly it goes into the self-reflection phase. So I kind of want to talk about and elaborate on the three. So first we have the forethought phase. So this includes task analysis and self-motivation. In this stage, it is the process of setting goals and planning a way to be successful in a specific area. So we can think of this phase almost as if goal planning. So basically for individuals, every year, every day, you have a goal that you're trying to reach. So I guess we can see that as the forethought phase. Secondly, we have the performance phase. This includes self-control and self-observation. And in this phase, it is the process in which you could think of it as the focus stage. There are different strategies like time management, self-consequences. It helps you perform to reach the goals that have been set. So just like anything else, you put a goal, and then after that you try to reach them, basically. And that's what the performance phase is about. You set your goals, and then you try to reach your goals by doing self-management, time management, consequences, all that kind of stuff. So discipline is what the performance phase is really about. Lastly, we have self-reflection, which includes self-judgment and self-reaction. This stage is about evaluation and comparing goals to results. So what are the goals that we set for ourselves? And now we're kind of reviewing those, and did we reach our goals by using the steps of the performance phase? And so that's what his self-regulation theory is really about.
We will now show a video of self-regulation in a different perspective.
This is Flora, and this is Tim. Both are university students starting a new degree programme. Flora and Tim have been asked to give a talk on a new topic, so they are keen to master new presentation skills. But Flora and Tim have different learning approaches to this task. Flora decides to attend a 2-day seminar where an expert outlines how to benefit from appropriate and effective presentation skills. Tim, on the other hand, opts for a self-regulated learning approach. But what exactly is self-regulated learning, and how does it differ from Flora's more traditional learning approach? Essentially, the distinction between the two learning approaches can be illustrated with a different, perhaps more familiar example. Tim and Flora make a trip to Rome. Flora takes a guided city tour and joins an organised group. Everyone hears the same tourist information. Nonetheless, Flora gains a good overview of Rome. But with hindsight, however, she feels that she would have been happier if she had had the opportunity to learn more about particular historical sites. On the other hand, Tim decides to plan his own individual city tour in advance. He includes adequate time for the sites, which he finds particularly interesting, in order to explore them extensively. In the evening, he reviews his sightseeing day and is delighted by the things he has learnt and experienced for himself. Tim's approach was, in fact, self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learning is about determining your own learning goals, selecting your own appropriate learning aids, and actively using them for your learning. Effectively, this approach enables you to learn how to learn. Maybe you would also, like Tim, want to improve your learning skills and have fun in doing so by gaining a deeper understanding of a topic and boosting your learning process. If so, self-regulated learning could be the perfect answer for you. The Role project supports the entire learning process. It offers you access to numerous tools, as well as individual design options to improve your personal learning environment and navigation through your learning opportunities. Before the presentation, Tim tells Flora about his successful learning experience. Flora decides to give it a go. The talk was much easier than she anticipated because of Tim's advice. Role is also available for your learning environment. Why not try it out? Visit the Role website for more details or watch one of the dedicated YouTube videos explaining more about the Role project.
PPR standards. So PPR stands for Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities. And pretty much what this is, it's a test that helps indicate whether the person taking the test has the knowledge and skill required that an entry-level teacher must have. And we will look at how BARRYZIMMERMAN's self-regulation theory relates to these PPR standards. So PPR 1 says, the teacher designs instruction appropriate for all students that reflects an understanding of relevant content and is based on continuous and appropriate assessment. In Zimmerman's self-regulation theory, one of his main points is self-reflection, which would allow students in the classroom to evaluate the information given. And PPR standard 4.E says, stimulates reflection, critical thinking, and inquiry among students. This also talks about how students use reflection. So this one is important because teachers should always encourage students to reflect on their tasks in school and to think critically. That is one of the ways that teachers can help create self-regulated learners in school. So how does this theory relate to education? This self-regulated theory can create more successful students. Students that have their goals planned out, that are better at studying and asking questions. And asking questions is really important because often students have trouble understanding something in class but don't like asking questions because they're scared to maybe look dumb in front of their classmates. But overall, self-regulated students do better academically. Self-regulated students are also self-disciplined. These students are able to ignore distractions while doing schoolwork and focus on whatever it is that they need to focus on. They can also monitor their actions before, during, and after performing a task. And they get things done right and on time. Examples from a school setting. We touched on this a little bit in the previous slide, but to go more into detail, we will compare a self-regulated student to a non-self-regulated student. A self-regulated student is one who sets specific goals for oneself, manages time efficiently, ignores distractions, follows rules and instructions, and is self-motivated. A non-self-regulated student sets no goals, they have bad time management, are easily distracted, and have no motivation. While looking at these characteristics, it's important to understand that a non-self-regulated student can become self-regulated. Self-regulation isn't a skill or a talent that students are just born with. It's something that is taught from a young age by parents and teachers.